when you study about the causes of crime from a psychological angle, you need to know psychology. From a sociological angle, you need to know sociology. To define what is a crime, you need to know law. So criminology is interdisciplinary science that deals with the etiology, the causes of crime, why a person is committing crime. We have in law, anything done by a child below the age of 6 is not an offense, because for anything to constitute crime, they should have what is called as a criminal intention or the mens rea.
Dr. P.T. Uma Maheshwari, I cannot tell you how excited I am to have you here. I mean, until I met you and spoke to you, I always thought that criminology, forensics, and all these things were too cool only in US. But to speak to you and understand that it's so fabulous here in India and in Tamil Nadu is so nice. I mean, thank you for coming here. I really sincerely am grateful for you to be here. So, to start with, Doctor, what is criminology?
It's a subject that we deals with the etiology of crime. It's an interdisciplinary field. Like criminology, simply put, you can say it's a study of crime. But if you elaborate a little bit, it's an interdisciplinary science, meaning when you study about the causes of crime from a psychological angle, you need to know psychology. From a sociological angle, you need to know sociology. To define what is a crime, you need to know law. And when you need to know about the mental makeup of a person, whether he is deceased or not, you must know psychiatry. Then you must know whether the person is it's a young child or is an adult, and how do you deal with you need to know about the delinquency, and you need to know about the criminal justice system, how it functions. When you need to know about the police, how they apprehend the criminals, you need to have police administration, then prison administration. So and when you go for investigation, what are the to find out a distinction between the homicide, the suicide, you need to know whether you need to know about forensic medicine, forensic science. So criminology is interdisciplinary science that deals with the etiology, the causes of crime. Why a person is committing crime? Is it because of poverty? Is it because of unemployment? Is it because of a broken home condition? Broken home condition in the sense you don't have two parents taking care of the children. You have only one parent, or the parents are deceased. So how does that kind of a person develop into a normal or an abnormal human being at a later stage? So when the causes of crime in depth. For example, recently we had news that a collector had mentioned that the child was responsible in some way or the other when he was inaugurating a POCSO training. POCSO training is Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. So this law was established in 2012 to take into account the sexual offences committed against children and how it is handled by the system, and we are giving training for all on how to handle this law. So the collector had gone for the as a chief guest or an inaugural address, I don't know, but he mentioned that a 17-year-old boy had committed a physical or sexual act against the child, and then when the child cried, it was about 3 years old, the girl child was about 3 years old, and he took a brick and then put on her head, and the collector has mentioned that the child has spat on him, and that is the reason for him to to commit the act of the sexual harassment as well as the sexual assault as well as putting the brick on top of her. So when he talks about like this, everybody went outrageous. From a criminological point of view, what we see is the mentality of the child, that come what may, we have in law anything done by a child below the age of 6 is not an offense, because for anything to constitute crime, they should have what is called as a criminal intention or the mens rea. The child does not have anything. The child does not, the child's mental makeup itself is not yet grown. You need at least 5 years to understand what is right, what is wrong, what is a language, and so many things. Will any child spit on a person just like that? You have come across many children. I have come across many children. All of them. We see children everywhere. We say hi, they say hi. Will they spit on us just like that? Nobody will spit. So this boy would have done something outrageous that the child spat on him. So we have to analyze what is the reason behind that, and not simply say what he meant, the collector meant is that when you are making a decision of who is the offender, you have to look into both sides of the coin, is what he meant. But at the same time, you cannot, as per the POCSO Act, as well as the Crime Against Women of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, just like that, give the details of the victim child in a public forum, and it itself is an offense. So what exactly we look at it, why is he committing, we have to look at the boys, why is he committing this kind of a crime on such a small child. So that is what we have to look at it. We have to also interrogate what is the problem that has been done to her, what is the crime that has been done to her separately, and then find out the causes. So just like that, we cannot say, oh, this is a wrong thing, so we need to give sex education. Many of them got infuriated by the news and they said, we have to give sex education. Sex education is, of course, essential in schools. When it is essential is when the person becomes a teenager, there will be a hormonal gush. They develop secondary sexual organs. Definitely, there will be a hormonal gush. They will have an attraction for the opposite sex. At that point of time, we need to tell them about these are the sex organs and how they are being utilized in their life. So, sex education will not solve this issue, but a value education of what exactly that, how to look at a child. This is what is essential. We need to teach nowadays, if you ask somebody what is morality, what is ethics, what is values, nobody knows about it. Everybody sees life as you need to have success. That is what, somehow or other, by hook or crook, you can even do corruption. But what you need is success. So this is the way the trend in India is going. But what we need to is, what we're missing is this morality, ethics and values have been imbibed in our culture way back to about, say, 1,000, 2,000 years. And we had also a subject called as moral education. If you look at the syllabus now, there is no subject. There is no marks for that. So that is where we need to look at it. So etiology of crime, we have to, but even I cannot make anything as a criminologist. It is in the court of law. The court will analyze what is the problem that the child has faced and what is it that the boy has done, and a detailed analysis, and there should also be a psychologist. And after that, what are the sections of punishment that can be given for the boy. All this has to be analyzed, and it is the court ultimately which has to decide. We should not comment anything. If we make a comment and if we make any kind of statement, then it becomes a contempt of court. So the courts are there to decide on what is right and what is wrong in this particular case. So collector, being in such a superior position, should not have made a comment. Of course, he has been transferred to what I'm trying to tell is, we have to analyze in detail. So a criminologist analyzes in detail on what is the cause of the crime. And not only the cause of the crime, we have to also look into the prevention of crime. What we are doing for the prevention of crime. You have 3 stages of prevention of crime. The primary crime prevention, meaning if you want your house to be safe, you have to put an extra lock, you have to put a grill gate. Advancedly, you have to put a CCTV. You have to put a bell in the entrance which has a camera where you can see from inside and then let the person inside or not. So, and you can have a dog to have the safeguard. So these are all primary crime prevention measures from the society for a individual house. Suppose you want safety for the roads, who will do that? So the police are there. They are the meaning of police itself, according to our constitution, protection of life in a civil establishment. We are in a civil society. So the protection of life in the civil establishment is the job of a police person. So what do? They go for crime beats, night beats, day beats, surveillance, shadowing. What is all this? They go in the night at 2 o'clock just to find out who is there in the road. Why are they there? What is the purpose? Have they gone to some movies, or have they come for some other purpose? What is their ulterior motive? To find out Is the ATM safe? Is the temple safe? Everything is locked. So it is the role of the police to protect the society. So everywhere we need primary crime prevention. To prevent the sexual harassment right from the schooling itself, we have to inculcate education. What is a good touch? What is a bad touch? And for the adolescents, they should not go in for parties where they are given laced drinks. So like that we must educate, we must ask the parents to educate the children. The schools must educate the children. And after when you become an adult, what are the primary crime prevention measures that you take? When you go into a bus, take whatever is minimum that you have. And then when you go by a bike, you wear the helmet. So the primary crime prevention measures. You may not, some people I have seen in the temples, they used to wear huge amount of jewelry. They go to the temple. So when I was there in a temple, one police officer asked the lady who was wearing so much of jewels, he asked, why are you so wearing so much of jewels? So he was concerned that there should not be any kind of that, because there are a lot of chain snatching is going on. The lady has told that person, in front of me this is happening. இது என்னுடைய நகை நான் போட்டுக்கிறேன், உங்களுக்கு என்ன பிரச்சனை, ஏன் நகையை நான் போட்டுட்டு வரல, உங்களுக்கு என்ன பிரச்சனை. So this is what she said. She didn't understand that if there is a theft, she's the one who is going to be the loser, not the police person. So that is how the society. So of course we can wear jewelry. What we tell them is, okay, if you want to wear jewelry, take your dupatta, cover, and then see when there is a huge crowd, silently they will come and then pick the jewelry. You cannot trace them at all. And then you have a lot of job to do. You have to go to the police station, give a complaint, follow them up. What happened? Sometimes you might get, sometimes you may not get. So to prevent all this, you have to cover up your jewelry and then go. So these are the primary crime prevention that we focus on. And then what is the secondary crime prevention? Okay, there is the father, for example, the father sees that his son has lot of opium and other kind of stuff in his pocket. And he also sees his money coming down. At this stage, what does the father do? He should not go and shout at him, yell at him, why are you doing like this? What he should do is he should keep an eye on the boy. Where is he going? Who are his friends? Why is he having a very peer pressure so that he's committing this kind of, he's going to take that thing and then he's going to be in a trouble, he's an addict or what? He has to keep a watch on the person. And then after slowly watching about for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, he should see what next can be done. He has to slowly reduce the money that he is keeping in his purse. And he also keep a watch and ward on the boy. If it is a girl child, the mother has to watch the girl child. When she goes inside the room and then locks the room and then keeps talking, then the mother has to keep an eye on the girl. So these are the secondary crime prevention measures. Then the tertiary crime prevention. That is when the crime has already occurred. Then what do? You send them to the prison, and when they come out, they are coming to the same society. They should not teach everybody how to commit crime. So what are we doing to curtail the same person from committing further crime and to keep our society clean? So these are the prevention. This is also a part of criminology. And then, okay, crime prevention we have talked about, and then we have talked about the causes of crime. And what about the punishment? Okay, that comes as a part of criminology, which is called as penology. Penal means punishment, and logy is the study of punishment. So what are the punishments that we have in our country? We have from minimum to a maximum punishment. We study different kinds of punishment, ranging from admonition. Admonition means giving a warning, and then suppose there is a sexual harassment and it is not very upsetting. Like if suppose he is giving a luring look on the girl. So for him, there is an admonition. Don't look at me like this. If you are going to look at me like this, I will have to file a complaint with the Internal Complaints Committee, and there'll be a problem for you in future. So just giving a warning. That warning can come directly from the girl, or the warning can come even from the Internal Complaints Committee that is established in that office. So this is, a minimum punishment, admonition or warning. And there is something called as community service, which is recently introduced. What is that is, I want to tell it with an example, like how effective the criminal justice system, which takes care of all these things, exists in the US, which is not so stringent in our country. You must have known about George Bush. He was the president of the United States. He had two daughters, and one was Jenna Bush. And it is an offense to take alcohol, beer, below the age of 21 publicly as per the US law, not the Indian law. She was studying in Texas University, and the Austin police had, who were in undercover, they see her take beer in Texas University publicly. If the same thing would have happened here, the police would not have taken any action because she is the daughter of a very, very high profile person. But what they did is they took the girl to the court of law, and the court of law, it had a punishment. Taking beer in public below the age of that had a punishment of $500 or a community service. The judge said, "You being a daughter of such a high profile person, you will have to do community service." And she did the community service. And what is this community service? Not just going and cleaning up the ground. You have to wash the public toilets. A president's daughter is doing this just because she has committed the small offense. The same thing, if this would have happened in India, she would have been, the police would have watched, even if they would have watched her, they would have let go of her because they would think she is the daughter, which means the rule of law, every law enforcement have a rule. In the sense, all are equal before the law. You may be the daughter of a president, you may be daughter of a poor person. The law is the same for everyone. So they took the girl and gave the punishment. But that punishment will not be given in India. But what we expect as criminologists is when that day comes, then we will also shine like the US. So we have the talent, we have the manpower. What we need is to follow the rule of law, have the value education, and uplift our society. So this community service is a kind of punishment. And then you have the short-term imprisonment, long-term imprisonment, depending on the type of offense the person commits. And you even have death penalty in the rarest of rare cases.
Doctor, is suicide considered as a crime? Suicide is also considered as a crime. You mentioned suicide while you were explaining about criminology.
Yes, yes. Suicide, abetment to suicide is an offense. Actually, suicide is also considered like a crime. Yes, of course, it was there in the Indian Penal Code. And more than that of 6 months, like if there is a failure. But usually, the thing of suicide comes like when the person is unable to handle issues. So what he needs is, you have a helpline called Sneha even in the state of Tamil Nadu. If you approach Sneha, he needs counseling. He does not know how to handle issues. So he is going in for a suicide. And if he escapes, he has a punishment of 6 months. And if somebody is prompting him to commit suicide, then the abetment of suicide is about 3 years of imprisonment. So this is there. To be honest, this is there in the Indian. It was there in the Indian Penal Code. Now the law, all the major criminal laws have been changed. Like the Indian Penal Code, the Criminal Procedure Code, and the Indian Evidence Act has gone a lot of revamping. And then now we have what is called as Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, replacing the Indian Penal Code, and then Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Samhita, replacing the Criminal Procedure Code, and Bharatiya Sakshi Adhiniyam, replacing the Indian Evidence Act. So the laws have been replaced. So there is a lot of change, and it has happened over the period of time. For more than 3 decades, we have been following the Indian Penal Code, and all in a sudden we'll have to go into the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. So because everything has been actually, the change has to be done, because the crimes then were different, the crimes now are different. So the
And
change.
one more thing, doctor, throughout the conversation, you referred to most of the crimes committed by a man. But I'm sure there must be the other,
Of
there is
course,
a.
women
So
too
does
commit.
the same laws apply even if women
Yes,
commit
yes.
crimes towards men?
Yes,
even if it's sexual harassment?
Regarding sexual harassment, you have laws. You have to take the case of Atul. He has committed suicide. You are referring to that case. The laws are more in favor of women with regard to sexual harassment because there is an increasing trend, and there is a. Actually, our society is more of a male bastion, patriarchal society, and women have been suppressed. And earlier, the crimes were not even reported. Now there is reporting because of Humpty number of laws, and more laws are there in favor of women with regard to sexual harassment when compared to men. The Indian, again, the Indian Penal Code comes. The Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita is common for both man and women. All laws are common for man and women, except, for example, the Domestic Violence. Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act of 2005. The law name itself says Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act. But I have seen a small a YouTube short wherein a daughter in law is hitting the father in law with a cane so that he falls down and then he is on the verge of death. So there is no exclusively law to protect the man, but when she is making a hitting against the father-in-law, there is a for hurt, for grievous hurt, there is the law protection from the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. That is common for both. Suppose there is a fight between a boy and another boy. The one boy hits the other boy, so he causes a hurt. There is a grievous hurt. Then there is a homicide. So there is a gravity of the offense. There is a punishment. That punishment is applicable for the women. But for the women only, you have a protection of women from domestic violence. Because why did they bring about this law is that there is a mother-in-law, daughter-in-law. The women of late, this kind of domestic violence, this dowry related deaths, it's coming down a little bit, but domestic violence is there in the lower classes. In the sense, men take to alcohol. I always wonder why is this task mark still existing on earth? Because men take to alcohol abnormally, and under the influence of alcohol, they come home and beat the women like anything. It is she who is the breadwinner of the family. And there was a maid who was working with me. She used to tell, I wish this man dies soon. So, how much of pain for her will be there to talk like this? So, and I see so much of the lower class family. They have a very good income compared to the middle class, but most of the families are getting spoiled just because the male member takes to a lot of alcohol and ruining whatever the female brings by being a maid. She brings a lot of money and then she tries to educate. Everything has been used by the male members, and he keeps hitting her like anything. She keeps even abusing under the influence. Whenever the person takes into alcohol, too much of alcohol, the brain will not function properly. They do not know what is actually happening. So what they do is they commit all kinds of offenses. To say, for example, one revered judge called A.K. Ganguly, okay, he was the one who gave the judgment for the 2G scam. He after being a judge, such a high profile case. 2G scam where Mr. Raja was convicted is a very big scam in the country, and he gave the judgment. He was a very high profile person, but this same person, after retirement as a judge, he became the human right West Bengal chairperson for human rights. Every state will have a state human rights commission, and he was the West Bengal human rights chairperson. And one law intern came to him to study law. Usually, when they do an intern, even we also send our students to the police, the court, and then the judiciary and all that to learn about the working modalities. So, how the human rights department works, the intern had gone. This person had called the intern to come to a guest house. And when she went into the guest house, this person, he said, let's have some kind of alcohol intoxication. So he took alcohol, she took alcohol, and under intoxication, what he did was he kissed her hand. And then she got outrageous. And then she got very angry. And then she said, I'm going to make a complaint. And she made a complaint. And then it became known to the entire country. And she has taken a video of what has been done. And this has been done under the influence of alcohol. What I'm trying to say is, under the influence of alcohol, if you take all kinds of this sexual harassment, all would have been under the influence of alcohol to the maximum. So that is one of the reasons which is causing this kind of. So that is why we have the protection of women from domestic violence. They throw the women out of the house. They throw the children. Who will take care of the entire family? That is why you have a separate law called Protection of Women from Domestic Violence. Not only the husband, even the mother-in-law, father-in-law, it has come down of late. The dowry deaths have come down. But asking for dowry is still there. As per the Dowry Prohibition Act, you have a separate law for that. Dowry Prohibition Act of 1961. And dowry was creating a menace those days. Nowadays, women come out to work, they are bold enough, they know what is if whenever the women themselves, they say, when they are asked for being a bride, they say, they're going to ask dowry, I don't want to get married. Tell them that. So that is the kind of change that has been coming. So dowry deaths have come down, but still request for dowry and harassment for dowry is still there. In fact, a doctor, his wife was smothered by the mother-in-law and father-in-law for not bringing dowry. The doctor's wife was smothered and killed for not bringing dowry from her house. So these kind of also constitute domestic violence by the in-laws. So to protect women from this only, you have the protection of women from domestic violence. The daughter-in-law hitting the mother-in-law, father-in-law, it is all happening these days, but not to the extent of the domestic violence. So that is why, and this sexual harassment is not a new thing to our culture. If you go to the Puranas and then epics, you can see even in Mahabharata, the Draupadi, who is king's wife, she herself was being subjected to molestation. And what women had to do is, they had to be vociferous. Even then she was vociferous. She was asking the king, see my plight, do some justice. She asks Bhima, who is supposed to be the righteous man on earth, she asked him, please save me. Nobody saved her. She had to be vociferous. So sexual harassment has been there. And what the epic tells us is that the solution is, there was a huge battle for the righteousness, and ultimately the women won. So instead of all this, let us try to prevent, as what we criminologists say, because this sexual harassment has been there then, and now also it is there. It has been there in our society also for a long time, because women come out for work and other things. So even just like that, they go also, there is sexual. It is considered, if I have to tell you with an example, in Nirbhaya's, you would have heard about Nirbhaya's case. That was in Delhi. Actually, she had gone, she was a physiotherapy intern. She had gone with one Arvindra Pandey, who was her relative. She tells her mom. Next day, she had to go to attend the physiotherapy class. And then after her job, her internship was over, she wanted to take up a job. And she wanted to take up the familial role. She wanted to do something for her family, work and then earn and then do something for the family. She tells her mother, tomorrow I'm going to college, so today I want to see a movie. She is going to a movie called Life of Pi, which is about a tiger. It was taken in Pondicherry. It is about a man with a tiger, how he spends the time. It is a very decent movie. And she tells her mom, I'm going at 6 o'clock, I'm going for this movie called Life of Pi with Arvindra Pandey. And he's a relative, he's known to the family. And she says, her mother, what else will a girl say? This much only she can say. She goes with the boy for the movie, and then she comes back at 9 o'clock. And when 9 o'clock they come, this the group of persons, like 5 to 6 persons, they were on a binge to take alcohol. They took all the alcohol, and what they were doing is they were taking a private bus, and they said, we want to enjoy. And then they go out. It was actually a school bus. They take the bus, they go out, and then, like how here they shout in and call taxis, no, please come, we are going to take. So like that they shouted. These two got in, and they were just sitting and then talking. And one of the boys is coming and then asking them, are you people lovers? This is none of his business. And because they were highly intoxicated, that's why I said alcohol is causing a lot of intoxication. It's spoiling their brain. The group, and that boy was a juvenile. And then he said, are you both lovers? Why are you coming at this time? After seeing a movie, they'll come only at 9 o'clock. It is very highly unsafe to travel in Delhi. I tell all the students, it is very, very unsafe to travel after 6 in Delhi. And Delhi had become a rape capital. It is very sorry status, but we have to tell this because we have to be safe. All women have to be safe. And the government has to take some serious initiative to curtail the offense of rape. Because I have seen in the international level, whenever the international travelers, when they ask about the coming to India for tourist purposes, they say India is very highly unsafe. Delhi is an unsafe place. Please don't go there. So such is the situation because a lot of offense of rape is being committed on foreigners. So that kind of thing. Then this girl and boy sits and then talks in the bus, and the juvenile asks, are you lovers? She said she's a very bold lady. That girl is a very bold lady. She says, mind your business. We have come to see a movie and we are going home. You have taken the money for the ticket, and there ends your matter. Don't talk to us about anything. He gets wild, and then he keeps talking, and then something, and then the worldly duel is becoming big and big and big, and then he starts, when the verbal thing becomes more, it turns physical. So he starts hitting at, and then Arvindra Pandey comes into, and he is also, and then the entire gang comes. One fellow alone is driving, entire gang comes. And then they take the girl behind in the thing, and then they commit the offense. And one of the offender, he is there, all of them after that they have been, all of them except the juvenile is been sentenced to death penalty. And when one of the offender was inside the Tihar jail, BBC documentary person called Leslie Woodwin, she herself was a victim of gang rape. She interviews, and then she puts a documentary called The India's Daughter, in which she interviews this person. And this person says, he lets him talk, like what is his mentality. This person says, why should this girl go with that boy? So what is the mentality? That shows the mentality of an offender. What is there if a girl... One of my trainee police officers said, ma'am, if I go with my brother, what is there? I may go with my cousins, I may go with my brother. What is there? Can our women not go? We are in independent India. We have the right to freedom. We have the right to equality. We have the right to live. It is a free society. Are we not supposed to go with them? What is there? So what is the problem of this man? So he was telling, why should she go with that man? There was actually no intention at all between the boy and the girl. And these people think it is wrong. So basically what is the problem is that when they are raised up in the slums, it is understood wrongly that a boy and a girl cannot go together in a public place. So this mentality that results in victim shaming, victim blaming, all sorts of things by the offenders. So these are the things that are happening in the... So we are talking about the kind of punishment. These people have been given death penalty. So criminology deals with these kinds. Why? And the juvenile, he has been sent out after 3 years of being in a special home. We as criminologists, we knew that much only is the punishment. The victim's parents, they were very vociferous. They didn't know the law, that he was below the age of 18. At that point of time, we had Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act of 2000. And what that law says is, whatever may be the crime he commits, even the murder of another person or a gang rape, whatever it is, the punishment that can be given to him was to put him in a special home for a period of maximum period of 3 years. That's what until, and if he has attained age of 18, then he can be set free. Suppose he has committed the offense at the age of 17, till age of 18 alone he will be there, and then he will be sent out. So that was the law at that point of time. So after this Nirbaya's case came into existence, actually Indian government did not take very serious step. At that time, the matter got, there was a lot of, chaos created. A lot of women's rights organizations protested this. And then the matter went to UN Secretary General. At that time, if my memory is right, Kofi Annan was there. And then he gave a call to the Prime Minister of India and then says, what is happening? You have ratified, we also have international laws. We have ratified to an international law called Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which is called as CEDAW. This is a United Nations international law. We have ratified, meaning we have signed that law, agreed to follow it, and then we have signed that law. So Kofi Annan questioned, what are you people doing? The intern is going, because her intestines were pulled out and she was in the hospital. She was suffering, and the doctor says, how on earth? But the girl was very vociferous. She gave a dying declaration mentioning that A, B, C, D, E, F were involved in this incident. Even at that stage of, Kumata stage, just before that stage, she had let out all the information as a dying declaration. And only after the intervention of the United Nations did our people take the girl to Singapore. And by that time, 1 hour after the incident, such a gruesome incident, 1 hour is called, even if it is an accident also, 1 hour, first 1 hour is called the golden hour. That golden hour, she was there lying on the road. There was nobody to pick up. And this Arvindra Pandey has been shouting. And then after 1 or 2 hours, some police personnel came. Then they took them to the hospital. And the next day only the doctor came for her treatment. And after that, it took such a lot of time. And they had to put her intestines inside and then fix her up. It was very, very, very late. And later on, when the UN questioned, then they are attempting to take the girl by flight to Singapore. And by the time she was dead and gone. And after that also the public furor was there. It was very sensationalized. So the government appointed something called as a Justice Verma Commission to change all the laws. And all the laws became very, very, very stringent. We had something called as Criminal Law Amendment Act of 2013. At the same time, they introduced this Sexual Harassment in Workplaces Act of 2013. All came at a time. So, but it was all over by that time. But if you look at it, now the laws are very stringent. Despite the fact that it is very stringent, a girl doctor in Calcutta has been subjected to the offense of rape. So what I'm trying to tell is that the legal angle of it is very, very strong. But the moral angle in our society is not up to the mark. So we need to go into right from schooling itself, even whether they are educated or not educated, the boys and girls need to be taught the basics of human behavior. For example, I went to the US on some personal purpose. I was in Manhattan. I was climbing the stairs from a basement. I saw a person like a Nelson Mandela. He was wearing a coat. Later on, I came to know he was a homeless person. So when I was climbing the stairs, he said, ma'am, can I was taking a huge suitcase. So he said, ma'am, can I get it for you? I said, no, thank you. Because I don't know who is he. So he was very courteous. He was giving importance to me as a woman. Then I said, no. And then he compelled, no, ma'am, it will be, I will carry it for you. He kept on persuading, and then he took my thing, and then he kept it on the road. And then I gave him $2. Thank you, I said. Because he gave me a help, and then I gave him the money, $2. There was an Indian also there. he was there on the streets. He saw me giving $2 to him. And then he said, Ma'am, shall I carry it for you? Now, he helped me because I'm coming from the basement to upstairs. And then it was normal ground. There was no need for me because it's a trolley. We are going to pull it up and then go. And then he's on seeing this $2, he was telling, can I come and help you? So this is the difference in what he behaved and how he behaved. It's not to glorify another thing. It's just to say that there should be a kind of mentality which is polished that will take us through great heights. So this is about the criminology deals with this kind of behavioral changes also. Penology about the study of punishment, and also victimology. Victimology, it refers to the victim's plight. You are always talking about the criminals. What about the victims? The victims are suffering in silence. They have lot of issues coming up. They have to go to the court every now and then see what happened. Imagine an acid attack. The entire thing will be blown up. What will she do for the livelihood? There are so many, there was a case of acid attack in our own, it was in Pondicherry. Her name is Vinodini. That girl, actually, she had refused a man, he wanted to marry her. She kept on refusing, no, I'm not interested. And I don't know what went on between the two. That man, I don't know what went on in his mind. He took acid and then poured on her. And then she was taken to the hospital. I think this happened in Pondicherry. She's a native of Pondicherry, and it happened in Pondicherry. But for treating, she had about more than 60 to 70% of burns, or maybe more. I'm not sure. So she was brought from there to Kilpauk Medical College Hospital of Chennai, because there was Dr. Jayaraman. He's one of the best to treat burns, and then domestic violence cases also they have burns. So he is the best person. It was to her bad luck that person has retired at that point of time. She did not have a facility. And then there was no proper treatment given to her in a government hospital. And then she succumbed to her injuries. So what about the victims? And then her mother, on seeing the plight of the daughter, in fact, some of her relatives told them, why don't you euthanize this girl? So her mother listened to all this, and after 1 or 2 years, there was a similar kind of acid attack. And this lady, the mother of the girl, she had donated some 10,000, 15,000 to that victim. And after that, she herself died. I don't know if it is suicide or if it is a natural death or anything. So she also is a human being of our society. And our constitution says she has also a right to live as per Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. And somebody is coming and then pouring acid, and then she is succumbing. What is the state doing? What is the Pondicherry government doing, and what is the Tamil Nadu state doing? Nothing could be done. And who is answerable? Just because she does not have a mouth to speak, she's not alive anymore. We cannot leave her like that. So this is the simple example of a victim. There are different kinds of victims, different kinds of... I would like to tell about a cyber stalking incident. This is a real life, whatever I'm telling is a real life incident that we have come across. This has happened in Jindal University, OP Jindal University, Law University. There were 3 persons, Hrithik, Karan and Vikas. The Hrithik, that person, his character, because of the nature of the offense that we have come across, I'm telling, he was trying to molest a girl, and then he was telling his friends, it's become like a fancy for him. He says, I want to tell my love to this girl. I want to have a relationship with this girl, and I want to ditch her. And I want to play like this. The thought itself is a wrong thought. And he tries to seduce the girl by sending a Facebook friend request. And what this girl does is, for many times, she denies the request. And at one point of time, she accepts. And once you accept friend request, you get a lot of texting and sexting and things like that keeps coming. And then when the boy seduces her, she falls a prey to him. So she thinks that the boy is really in love with her. So what happens that as I told you, the hormonal gush of the UG student. So what she does is she keeps conversing with him, and then I calls up at 11 o'clock in the night, and then he says, "See, we are going to get married. Why don't you give me an obscene picture?" And she refuses a lot, and he keeps on pestering her, and then she sends some obscene picture. And that boy, what he does is, he puts in his Apple Cloud, and then he has a password. He says, "Come and sleep with me, or else I'm going to put it in the uh, college campus. Everybody will see you." So he forces her, and then she had to go and then sleep with him. And repeatedly, he uses her like this. And then at one point of time, she thinks of committing suicide because this is a kind of torture for her. The only mistake she did is she accepted the friend request. That's why I tell all women folk, don't put your face in Facebook, and don't keep accepting those whom you do not know personally. And don't even in your DP also, don't put your face, because there is a possibility. There was another case that came to me itself, wherein a girl's picture was completely morphed, and then an obscene picture was there. With great difficulty, I had to approach the cybercrime department and then get that picture removed from of the girl. She was literally crying to me. And in this girl, what happened is, they have been completely using the girl, and the parents come and then they register a case against the boy. They are high profile offenders, so the police station did not register the complaint. As per law, this kind of complaints has to be registered immediately, but unfortunately there was no registering of this complaint. And then the girl's father had to plead with the Supreme Court to direct the police to register the case and then handle the case. So the Supreme Court gave the direction, and then they handled the case. And after a thorough investigation, she has sent the message to the boy, that had a double tick in blue. Whenever you send a message, you get the blue tick. So for the first time, I think one Judge Sunita, she had given the double tick as an evidence, electronic evidence. She took that as an electronic evidence that the message has been sent by her, and it has been, because it goes to that particular boy. And she has convicted those two boys for 20 years of imprisonment. And the last boy for 7 years, depending on the nature of the case, I don't know the particulars. And they have come out on bail. Now what they are doing is, again they are torturing the girl. I still have the picture. And now the Supreme Court has to intervene again to say that please give the password of the thing or delete everything, so that the girl is not being completely being blackmailed every now and then. So this is the kind of victimization that, what kind of a mental torture that the girl would have undergone. So that is why the laws are more in favor of women when compared to, if you ask me, are not the girls torturing men? Yes, of course, there are incidents. Probably it would be like 1% or so when compared to this 99%. So that would have been of course, men are also being, when in the case of divorce, alimony, all those things, there is a lot of, false cases of dowry. Okay, so dowry cases just like that cannot be handled. You have to probe the girl as well as the boy. Suppose they not like the boy or the boys, immediately they go and give a dowry case in the police station. So many of the police officers used to tell me, just like that the girls will come and give complaint because they don't want to live with them. They want to have a separate family. They don't want to live with the in-laws. So they come and give a dowry complaint. And then the entire family is ruined. So these are the plights of and they undergo the gang rape, they undergo post-traumatic stress disorder psychologically, then obsessive compulsive disorder, and sometimes the sexually transmitted diseases. Then physiologically also they undergo a lot of changes. So a lot of problems the victim. So this comes also under the criminology. So criminology encompasses all this stuff together.
This is so interesting, doctor. So, how did you study this? Like, why did you choose to, like, what was your journey? If somebody wants, if an aspiring person wants to take this path, what should be the path they should take?
Nowadays, you have a degree itself, the UG degree in criminology. You have a BA, BAc, and then you also have a MA, MSc also. PG degree is there. It's there in the University of Madras. It's there in Manoanmaniam Sundaram universities, and many of the universities in the country has this both the basic degree and the master's degree. When I studied this, there was only a master's degree. There was no. It was under the Department of Psychology initially, and then it became a separate department. And actually, I was looking for something uh, very light because I did chemistry as a degree. And chemistry, you have inorganic chemistry, organic chemistry, physical chemistry, and all these, you have to read about the compounds. You have to keep it in mind. And I am not very good at remembering things. So I thought I want something interesting, something light. So when I looked at it, and as I told you, I have seen in the University of Madras, it was offering what are the courses that the University of Madras was offering. I went through the entire book and then I saw this one. It's something different, something about crime. Let's try this. And then I went for an interview, I got it, and then I joined the subject. So
And
that's
what
how
is the
masters.
scope in India in terms of job? How is it today for what are the kind of jobs they can expect aspiring students who take up?
Actually, there are humpty number of colleges and universities offering this course. If you look at the scope of this subject, you have scope directly in the academics. Like if I have to join as a professor of criminology, then the academics, you need only a criminologist. And there is a post uh, in the medical college called a scientific assistant that includes only exclusively criminology. Exclusive for criminology, you have academics and the scientific assistant. But there are also scope in other different fields. I mean, criminal justice system. Like you can apply for like I join in the Directorate of Social Defense. My first posting, I took up a government posting. It was my posting was a technical post called as the superintendent of a government protective home and a government observation home under the Directorate of Social Defense. And actually, what is this directorate was? It was dealing with the offenders below the age of 18 years, and it was dealing with offenders who have been uh, convicted for under the Immoral Traffic Prevention Act of 1956. That is, they are basically prostitution cases. So they have a separate, they don't go to the prison. They go to a separate institution called Government Protective Home, which is called Arasinar Magalir Kapagam. And the boys and girls below the age of 18, they come under Government Observation Home. Now the terminology and all of the institution has changed. So I joined this. They asked for criminology, psychology, sociology for this. So all of them applied. Then we had to. It is a general competitive exam. I had to undergo that in general competitive exam. Then after that, I had an interview and I got selected and then I joined this job. So this is one kind of opportunity. And if you want to go into the police department, you can either have a entry in the as a sub inspector or you can have an entry as a deputy superintendent of police. In both the cases, you will have to write the exam. There is a, for the SI level, you have to have a written exam. Then the Uniform Services Recruitment Board, they have an exam. You have to clear up that. And then you have a physical examination for the sub inspectors. You have to be very tall, and then you have to have a chest measurement of this, and then you have to run fast, and then you have to climb the rope and things like that. Physical test, and then you have an interview. This is the selection for the SIs. And then you have a deputy superintendent. You have a, that is a group 1, Tamil Nadu Police Service Commission. So you have to, like all other entrants, you have to have a written exam, prelims, and then a mains, and then you have a interview. You can also go for the UPSC. You have a National Police Academy. There also you can go. Same thing. You have a prelims, mains, and a interview, but that is at the country level. So these, but criminology does not have any preference in this. You can go to the prison department also. You can work there as a jailer. There are also some competitive exams in that. You can work there also. So you can also have enter into the judiciary, and you can also go into the private security agencies, and then you can have an NGO. You can go into the cyber security, which is a latest in yeah. So you can. There are posts like crime analyst in in the United States and in all the Western countries. You have lot of criminology study, and you have also lot of posts exclusively for criminology, like crime analysts, fraud analysts. But in India, you don't have a separate posting for this, except for the academics and the scientific assessment. You don't have a separate crime analyst post or separate. It is still in an infancy stage. So probably in days to come we might have. That's why I'm also planning to start an NGO, so that we can collaborate with the government, and then we can do a lot of service to the. Like my friends, they have also started NGOs. One of my senior, she has an NGO called the Prevention of Crime and Victim Care, PCVC. What she does is, all this domestic violence victims, if they don't have a place to go, if they are sent out of their house, she provides them with a basic shelter. If they have some injuries, she gives them treatment, and then she sees to needs of them, and then she takes care of them, and then sends them back as a normal human being. So she's doing a great job. Another colleague of mine, he has a exclusive center for street children, and he picks up all the street children. I mean, they don't have parents, they don't have anybody to take care of. These are the ones who are vulnerable to crimes. So to deviate them from crimes, he provides them with a shelter, he provides them with proper education, he provides them with games and associations, and he has even taken them to the international level to make them grow as a normal citizen. So these are the role of the NGOs. So these kind of things are separate initiatives. So this is how in the industrial, financial frauds and things, there are some posts coming up like that.
This is so interesting, doctor. I mean, I'm really, it's very nice. I mean, I have learned so much in this 1 hour with you, and thank you so much, to come here and have this conversation. I'm sure like people are going to be so interested in what you just spoke, and it's so important to share these information with people. It's very valuable. Thank you so much, doctor.
Thank you. Thank you.